Always late first. Just down.
MegaCon! It is that time, y'all. This is a culmination started 40 years ago where a master storyteller took a beloved character and changed the game. Are y'all ready?
Yes.
I said, are y'all ready? Keep that energy going. First and foremost for Mr. Brian Azzarello. And if you can, get on your feet for Frank Miller! True honor.
Yeah, keep clapping.
That's right.
This is a legend.
He's here.
The hat?
Now.
You know the hat?
Beautiful, beautiful. Guys, we are here to celebrate 40 years of this tremendous comic series that literally changed not just the face of comics, but truly one of the most iconic characters of all time. Brian, I have to ask you first, where were you when you first experienced Dark Knight Returns?
I was in the 80s.
That's code for I don't remember exactly where I was. Is your mic on?
Is it?
There you go. Okay.
I bought it at Walden Books.
Let's go.
It doesn't even exist anymore.
It doesn't. Bygone era.
Yeah.
Right there.
It was in a mall. They don't exist anymore either.
It's like a
It was
physical
published by
Amazon
DC
kid.
Comics, which does exist.
Yes.
Like a cockroach.
No, did you say like a cockroach? That's so bad, Ryan. Stop it. Frank, obviously,
I guess I'm the nice guy today.
you are.
We are in trouble, folks.
Frank, when you took on Batman with this wonderful story, I have to ask, like, was this something that was burning in you to tell, or was this an editorial request of reinvention and reinvigoration? When Frank laughs like that, he's gonna say something wild.
No, it wasn't wild at all. I had done like one stray Batman job that Denny O'Neil wrote a long time ago. And time was passing, and I was bombing along on Daredevil.
Did you just say bobbing along on Daredevil?
bombing?
Oh, bombing! Wait, that's even no. Okay.
You're gonna keep interrupting me. I'm not.
I'm sorry. I can't let you down talk yourself like that. No way. I love you too much.
We keep hogging the mic. I mean, we're both at it.
Leave it.
We only got another 23 minutes, so.
22. No, anyway, what happened was this, was that Jeanette Kahn had brought a much more aggressive posture to DC Comics when she took charge. And she really wanted to attract more talent, have it become much more talent-based place. It's one of the reasons why she put Dick Giordano in such a position of power as she did. And the two of them worked as quite a team to attract talent. And Dick Giordano, in particular, had his eye on Batman for obvious reasons, because he had a long history with the character, with his remarkable work with Neil Adams in particular. And he and Jeanette talked things over. Dick said to me, he said, Frank, I go to these comic book shows, and there's all these polls about the most popular character. Batman's always at the top of the list. And we can't sell the thing. You got any ideas? And I realized that I'd just been kind of offered the keys to the Magic Kingdom. And so, yeah, I had bags of ideas, I said, well, I think he's got to be a lot less like Adam West and a lot more like Clint Eastwood. And he's got to be scarier and tougher and so on. And then I started percolating on the idea, which Dick always had a way of giving you just enough so that you would get creative on him and throw things back at him. And well, I happened to be 29 years old. And like any 29-year-old fella, I really was not looking forward to turning 30. And I was not looking forward to being older than that. Who had always been perpetually 29. And I got the right idea. I was going to make him the impossibly old age of 50. Other things just flowed from that. Colleagues threw in ideas on me as I was jabbering along about the project. But mostly I just sort of took old familiar tropes of the character and twisted them sideways and made them into what I felt was a more coherent plot line, and one that much more reflected the world in which we actually live. And the funny thing was the world of the 1980s in New York City was the kind of place that could use a Batman.
Absolutely.
It was where a sort of a rather extreme-minded character named Bernard Getz had built had shot down some people in a subway car who were just sort of acting kind of tough there, and where the streets were dangerous. They were routinely dangerous. I brought Batman into that world, and everything else kind of sprang from that. Basically, I made him safely older than me, and put him in a more recognizable world. And then just had the world react to it like it wasn't a world that was choking on superheroes.
There's so much that you built within this story that became the language of Batman. And the way that we kind of described him over the last 40 years, this gritty, real, super tough, having a plan for everything. Did you intend for that to be the conclusion that we got out of your characterization?
I just wanted to tell a rocking good story.
Come on.
I mean, it's now you don't think about all this will have great historical impact or anything. You're thinking like that, you're gonna end up compromising yourself and thinking yourself into corners, and you're gonna try to build a pyramid of these, and it's just gonna collapse under its own weight. No, you just tell the best story.
You told one of the greatest stories in the entire medium, if I do say so. You also illustrated some of the most iconic imagery featuring this character to ever exist. The lightning strike cover is something that I think we all just dream about. How did you design that? Where did that idea come from?
It came from basically I wanted to get across the idea that Batman was an elemental force, and that he was, and also that he was striking from the heavens, kind of like the wrath of God.
Yes.
And then I since I happen to know a certain painter, I came up with a cover where Batman was actually a small element in silhouette, and I just drew a single pencil line and turned to Lynn Varley and said, Lynn, that's the lightning bolt. And she came back with that cover.
Wow. So you were on a tight deadline.
That's what it sounds like. That's what that is. That's hard to speak right there. That's real.
No, I just knew that when it came to that kind of stuff, trying to dominate her was counterproductive, foolish, and would get me in trouble.
Absolutely. Big shout out to Lynn Riley for the amazing colors on this one. Working with Klaus, though, to have that cohesion, collaboration, what is that like as an illustrator to know someone that can balance so much of you?
We were an established partner. I was so good. And Dick was Klaus's mentor from way back. And Dick put together the basic. He wanted Klaus on it, and so the idea was to get the Daredevil team. It's so Klaus signed on, and we were talking on.
Look.
And very, very quickly into it, though, it did stop looking like Daredevil. Because we were both ready to go someone else.
You felt that energy with every page, and it was beautiful. I do have to ask, I mean, one could take from this story that maybe you felt a certain kind of way about Superman. Did you love him, like him, want to make him bleed? Like, how did you feel about Superman when you took on this project?
From when I was 5 years old, Superman was my favorite superhero. And it wasn't because of comic books, it was because of cartoons, the old Fleischer cartoons from the 40s. And I followed Superman all through the 60s as he got more and more powerful and gained more and more weight and all of that. But when I decided to focus entirely on Batman, Batman's book and everything in that book was, in a certain way, a reflection of or a reaction to Batman. And I never bought the world's finest business where the two would be pals and we'd share adventures together. It just didn't make sense. Apollo and Dionysus don't get along.
That's fair.
And so it just seemed like that it would make sense that they wouldn't just grudgingly respect each other. They just actively disliked each other. and one of them basically, look at Superman. His whole goddamn planet blew up when he was a kid. But he's got a great attitude. And he grew up as a farm boy and had great step parents, and moved to the big city, and it was a nice city. And pursued his career and went out and saved things because he could do things better than anybody. Batman, on the other hand, his parents were shot to death, and he basically just dedicated himself to the eternal quest for justice and revenge. And his soul is an open wound.
Right for stories. We love it. Brian, you've written both Superman and Batman separately. How did the Dark Knight Returns series influence your ideas of what those two characters could be?
Well, I would say that the Dark Knight influenced my take on Batman. 100%. And that character, I had no interest in superhero books when I read Batman or when I read Dark Knight. It was like, I don't care about this stuff. I was reading like Fantagraphic and like indie books. That's what I liked. And as far as the mainstream, I like Kubert's war books and Marvel's like monster books, that kind of stuff. And then Dark Knight was like eye-opening. It's like, you can actually do this with Adam West. You can do this. And it's like, Robin's dead? Right on.
For those that don't know, Brian Azzarello is the creator behind 100 Bullets. So, like, just know that's greatness.
It's coming back this July, by the way. So.
Love it. Love it.
And as far as Superman goes,
Say it.
he was perfect. So how do you like anything like that?
Mm.
And it was always like for me, we've had like so many conversations about it. Like,
We've had lots of conversations about Superman.
yes, yeah, and
As a matter of fact, the first conversation we ever had.
super.
Yeah.
Well, we've had a lot about the Hulk too.
Yeah.
But for me, it was like, how do you find a, what's his flaw? And I think his flaw, and it kind of goes to, I don't think I've ever said this before. It's never sort of dawned on me. It does go to Dark Knight because his flaw is naivete.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He's so trusting. Like he's too good.
Right.
And
It's
he's
interesting because I always saw him as too afraid.
I just think he just like.
he doesn't trust us. That he really thinks that he's the guy who can keep the kettle from boiling over. And that's all he should ever do.
Wow.
See, that's why Luther doesn't like him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So when you guys worked on Dark Knight 3, The Master Race, phenomenal book. Make some noise for that one time.
He'll take it anyway.
Yeah.
When you put the impact of Kryptonian society on what the rest of the world could actually be, kind of the darkest version of what you said Luthor has kind of always predicted Superman would bring about. There's a phenomenal sense of right of that critique. Was that kind of your aim to kind of talk about this idea of this is actually the bad part of Superman being here and what it negatively could do to the rest of humanity?
I think that's what you were originally. That's what you wanted. You wanted, like, with Kryptonians, when they were loose, it was like, okay, now we can do what he won't do.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about this,
Yeah.
and it's like, the idea is like, let's let the genie out of the bottle. And the fact is that, what is all that stuff that Superman can do? I mean, maybe like he wanted to do occasionally.
Yeah.
Come on, isn't it a little weird that this guy keeps a few million fellow Kryptonians in a bottle?
Yeah. It's a little sadistic, a little bit.
I mean, it's what's he afraid of? Because I do think fear is a very big factor in Superman. Second, Corey. And in Dark Knight 2, I had it included a moment where Lara had just said to her father, "Why don't we just take over?" And in Dark Knight 3, Brian was very quick to start exploring that more for us.
I think that's one of the things that makes it so great is in the Dark Knight series, you have Batman somewhat represent this ultimate idea of what humanity can do. And even when, pushed to the end, when it seems like, oh, there's no way for them to come back, there's always a way. There's something to build off of. And there's something innately inspiring about it. I have to ask, when was the last time that you did get to read The Dark Knight Returns? Do you read your own work, Frank? You should. It's really good. Good.
It's let's just say Spielberg.
Okay.
As we were walking, I would occasionally go, "What was that one again? Let's see what happened there," and check. But it's but it's, to me, it would be distracting and narcissistic to be reading that.
That's fair. I can't argue that. I do think that you should read it, though. It's really good. Like, I think the other thing that is kind of amazing is kind of your checkpoints in life. Like you said, you started Dark Knight, you're 29, you're looking at Batman as a potential person who you're now about to be older than. When you come back for Strikes Again, there's been an expectation now of your storytelling and what the impact is supposed to be. What was it that you wanted to tell in that story of Dark Knight Strikes Back? Strikes Again, sorry. I totally went Star Wars.
Everybody
so
thinks
bad.
that.
Why do we do that? Such geeks.
Great master.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that part. That was from the audience. I did not say that.
No, what I really wanted to do was just explore one thread that had been in Dark Knight. This the idea that the main impetus for doing Dark Knight 2 was to just play with the idea of what if this really did become a fad and a movement, and essentially to sort of like go, okay, we've done the one that's tethered much more in the reality that we know. Bring back the spandex. Bring it on strong. And essentially let the floodgates open and let all the crazy stuff back in.
I love it.
And it was much more freewheeling, wilder story. Batman became genuinely unhinged, and we just, for the fun of it, whereas crazy old Batman has the perfect daughter.
Yes.
In Carrie. The perfect old Clark has a completely wild, reckless, juvenile delinquent for a daughter.
Right.
And I just loved playing with all these chaotic pieces flying in different directions.
I think that's one of the best parts. If you guys go back and read Strikes Again, you see that understanding. Like there is a commentary that's not just a continuation of Dark Knight Returns. You did that. You don't need to do the same old hat trick. You can come back and tell a greater, bigger, different story. And I think that is one of the greatest things about you as a creative, Frank, is that you are constantly reinventing what storytelling means to you in the comic format. I have to ask, what is next for you in terms of your storytelling ventures? Is there anything Batman related on the horizon?
Ain't nothing I can talk about.
Okay, all right, nothing to talk about. You can't talk about it. You can't talk about it. Get out of here. What are you doing? You can't talk about it. But we can talk about things that have come out. Specifically with Master Race, one of my favorite parts of that were the mini comics inside that just kind of flesh things out even more.
Yeah.
Where did that idea come from? That's my
His
favorite.
head.
Really? Come on. It's such a brilliant tool to extend the story without having to create a whole nother series. What was your favorite?
Well, the next one's gonna have mini comics.
Let's go. Ready.
There's stamps.
We will all be in line, collect those bad boys. Like, I got that one. All right. Was there a specific favorite of yours amongst those?
See, it's a good question. Good favorite.
Well, no, not really a favorite. I mean, I like the Green Lantern one.
Yes.
Yeah, I like the Green Lantern one a
Yes,
lot.
that
Yeah.
one. Do you
Let's
guys
just
not
say
know
the
what we're
Green
talking about right
Lantern.
now?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. I was going to say that was real quiet.
But partly too, I think that it's that Green Lantern is to me he's a real fascinating character. In a way, that resembles with Superman. In that he basically, Green Lantern has the power of a god.
Literally.
He's more powerful than all the other heroes put together. And it's like why would you use that to do silly things? Brian, it was another old conversation Brian and I had. It was where Brian really. I'm going to tell him here.
All right, we might as well. Everybody, Green Lantern's a real hot button right now.
Yes, yes it is. Yes, it is.
Just one time when he and I were talking, and we were just, pardon my language, shooting the shit about these characters. And, in a moment of crystal clarity, Brian just said, "There's only one explanation why this guy who's so powerful would be making giant hula hoops and he's an idiot." And it really was like the Red Sea party, and a new day dawned because that guided my hand through the version that was in at Batman and Robin the Boy Wonder, and it just helps make sense, and it also was a way to keep Green Lantern from just fixing everything every time. Yeah.
Green Lantern, his greatest power is his imagination, and his greatest weakness is his imagination.
It's so true. It's so true. One of the things that I loved about your portrayal there is he kind of hit like the greatest level of Captain Kirkness by like involving himself with an alien, lover, and deciding, you know what, I can actually become like you. I don't have to stay human.
Yeah.
And that was one of the most he'd always been afraid to even change himself in that way. And you just kind of took it there, which I say, in your hands, Hal Jordan truly became the greatest Green Lantern of all time. Which is amazing to think that all the stories before it never dared to do that. And it was absolutely brilliant. You also gave some incredible shine to the Atom. And I think that
The Atom is just waiting to happen.
Oh my God, it was so good.
There's so much that could be done with that character.
Yes, indeed.
And occasionally it's been done, but that is one of DC's absolute treasures. Man, that has yet to be.
Oh my gosh, so good, so good. Just to ask the powers that be, are we allowed to do audience questions? Can we do audience questions? Are we allowed? We can get like a couple of them.
Maybe a couple.
We can get a couple.
Yeah, let's.
We'll do five people that can ask some questions right now.
Better be good.
You heard what Brian said. It's got to be good. If it's not good, we're gonna roast you.
Me?
Yes. Look up, please.
So, okay. So, Joker. Incredible version. But I gotta ask, did you have to kill him off so soon? And did Batman actually kill him, or did Joker kill himself?
You
With
read
the-
the book, right?
Yes.
Make sure. No, that's not a diss. I'm just making sure, it wasn't like the movie version or animated series version. I just want to make sure you read the book, so that way we can go from there.
You killed himself.
It's 40 years old. That's why we're
Batman
here.
just light goes through with it. And the Joker, is basically laughing when he did it.
Yeah.
He basically, some people untank their neck by doing this. He undid it.
Knowing that everyone was going to blame Batman.
Yeah.
Dark, super dark. Yes.
4 years of Batman, when you sit at home and you're by yourself for a moment, you really have that moment where you understand that what you've done for the fandom, everybody's here because of what you've done.
Come on now.
Do you ever how does that hit you?
I'm grateful. It's been a really fun ride, and it did nothing but open up wonderful opportunities for me. And it's always a good place to go back to every once in a while. And it's like the experience that Brian and I have had has really showed me that it's one that's open to exploration from time to time when the ideas are good enough that these possibilities exist. So I'd say it's only positive.
Love that.
Thank you. We appreciate you.
We get on this side first. Yeah, you can clap for that.
So out of all the superheroes, it's my belief that Batman has the most reputation. And why I say that is because he's been thinking he doesn't have any super stuff. All the other Marvel DC characters, they have some sort of something that doesn't. So would you agree that has the most grit of any superhero?
Is Batman the grittiest superhero? Do you qualify Batman as a superhero? That's the start question.
Yes,
Well, he has a superpower.
Oh, mine's ripped.
He has unlimited wealth.
He's unlimited wealth.
Yes.
And he's the smartest guy in town. But it's ask people, we're using words like superhero. I mean, that was a word that was basically made up to describe guys in tights. He's in tights. and it's you can say Zorro's a superhero.
That's right.
I mean, Green Arrow. He doesn't, he can't fly.
Yeah, but Batman's got the coolest costume.
Yeah, he does.
He's got the best car.
Yes.
Yeah.
And somebody had to put that in somewhere, Brian.
Just make it.
Your Batmobile, though, is a game changer. Like that tank. Come on. I love that. Yes, the Batman tank.
So, I'm sure there are maybe one or two lost people in this room, but were inspired by your work to create works of their own. What piece of advice would you give to someone who is just starting to create their catalog of work?
That's it. That's the advice.
Really don't worry about what anybody else thinks about what you're doing. Just do it. Trust yourself.
Yeah.
If you're going to fail, don't fail because you're trying to do something that you think somebody else wants. Fail because you tried your best at what you wanted to do.
Amen. The other thing I want to add to what Brian said is these stories, every one of these stories, like, of the superheroes, of Western, of run story, they all involve some central wish. And find the wish that you want to explore. Build your story and your characters out from that. Do not consider the odds. Do not consider what's popular now. Just don't think about it. Come up with your bone, not your Dark Knight 12.
Come on now. You're up.
No, you. Yes.
With regards to Carrie Kelly and Robin, maybe decide to add her to the story specifically, like you guys first female Robin, and the statement Robin you left it. How did you come up with her? And where did you decide to write that?
Oh boy. I started because of some goofy ideas, but goofy reasons. But the main reason was that I wanted there to be a soft part of Batman. I want to be the part of him that was not this raging, angry force all the time. And reinterpreting Robin so it's not this rather awkward figure where it's basically, Dick and Bruce hanging around in bathrobes. But this sort of pixie-like figure who learns to become a hero. It is to to me, once I really got rolling with her, I realized that she was the secret lead of Dark Knight. That she was the reader's character, and because she was profoundly human in a way he wasn't, because he really is a mythical figure, and that she was the secret weapon in that she was the hope for the future. And the biggest secret of all was that she's actually smarter than me. And that's why toward the end of it, she was thinking things that he couldn't do because he was too stuck in his ways.
Love that.
And she, what really makes her fundamentally different is she chose him.
Yeah,
He chose all the other Robins.
that's right.
That's right. That's very right.
And threw them in harm's way.
Which does happen. Yellow
No, that red's not bright enough. Put this one on.
I don't know, Commissioner. This is a pretty rough job. It's gonna cost me maybe 4 or 5 robins.
I own an orphanage. We give them cheap. It's fine.
You ever seen you ever seen the Batmobile parked from an orphanage? It's a disturbing sight.
So bad. So I've all these comics that you've done, the every work in this art and the story. What are maybe an indie comic that you could do stout, so amazing things you are?
Do you guys get to read mini comics anymore? You're constantly working.
Yeah, I read comics.
Okay.
Yeah, it's but I didn't understand the question.
No, I got you. Are there any independent comics that are out that have caught your eye that are maybe like kind of something that you think that person's got something?
Yeah. No, I mean, I really enjoyed the work of Peach Momoko.
Yes, Peach is awesome.
And,
Love Peach.
I mean, I'm lucky in that I've been able to connect with some of the people whose work I've been enjoying. Let's see, I haven't been a comic book shop so as much. Help me out, Brian. What's that?
I'm reading so much manga right now.
Yeah, manga is just the best.
That's really what I've been reading.
Yeah.
I'm trying to learn the language.
Okay.
Not Japanese.
The language of manga. No.
The language of the way they tell the story.
Yes.
So am I. As a matter of fact, and I know exactly what Brian's talking about because the Japanese have developed what I believe is comics began here. The Japanese, partly because of their own language and culture, where their alphabet is a series of pictographs. The marriage of words and pictures is deeper in Japan than it is here. They have in many areas surpassed us and left us in the dust in terms of how the mechanic of a comic book works. They aren't likely to give you footnotes, which to me are
Well,
what?
and they're also, I mean, it's just so more prevalent in their culture.
Right.
That's it too. Is that everybody reads them
Yeah.
over there?
And there's manga for everything.
Yeah, there's manga about anything you can imagine. Fishing.
Yeah.
There's fishing manga to read.
Absolutely.
Like, whoa, this one's really. We can laugh about it, but have you ever heard of Moby Dick?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just because they're aiming at they don't think of comics as a subculture.
Right.
Yeah.
Just is.
Yeah.
It's the way it should be.
We have hit our time for this conversation. But guys, I have got to say thank you tremendously on behalf of all of fandom's readership. MegaCon, one more time, make some noise. Great work. much for joining us tonight. If you do have the special experience wristband, please sit down, sit still. If you do not, thank you guys for exiting out to the side. We appreciate that. If we have not scanned you yet, definitely put your hands up so we can get you scanned. Go ahead and sit down, put your hands up so we can get you scanned, and we'll start to set up the room to make sure that we get you guys set up for the signing. All right? If you guys